Okay, guys, some of you are familiar with Azure platform. This is how your Azure portal looks like. It's just loading. Just give it a sec. So this is how your Azure platform looks. Okay, we'll be starting with Azure Data Factory as a part of this Azure Data Engineering course. We'll starting with Azure Data Factory. So as discussed in the webinar or the first session, Azure Data Factory is a data ingestion tool. Okay, so we can do transformations also, but basically as a data engineer, as an Azure data engineer, you will be using Azure Data Factory for ingestion. Okay, ingestion is bringing data or pumping data into your pipeline. Okay, so data factory is for that. When we go to Databricks, generally we use Databricks for data cleaning and data transformation, because Databricks is built on Spark framework, which can handle millions of records, big data very efficiently compared to Data Factory. So, as a data engineer, when we are building pipelines, we are using Data Factory and Databricks in combination for a pipeline. Okay, we can do the whole pipeline on Data Factory also. We can do the whole pipeline on Databricks also. It is possible, but when we are doing this in combination, we get the advantage of Data Factory for data ingestion, and we use the advantage of Databricks, its main features, to process large amounts of data, millions of records efficiently. For that, we use Databricks. Okay, so what I'll do is just a second. Okay, oops, sorry.
టచ్ దీంట్లో వేసిన.
Okay, there are, so this is how your Azure platform looks. I'll share you a link to register on how to register on the platform. Okay, so Azure provides you 30 days free usage first, if you are registering for the first time, and after 30 days you should convert it to an pay as you go. Don't get scared while converting into pay as you go. While using Azure Data Factory, you can limit it to only 400 to 500 per month. When you practice, Azure Data Factory will not be charged more than that. But for Azure Databricks, anyways, Azure Databricks will be starting after a month. So first, when you are creating a service, Azure Databricks, it will give you 15 days of free usage. That 15 days you can use for practice, then it will start charging you. There, I'll teach you how to reduce the bill on Azure Databricks. That you can do there, somewhere around 500 per month, it will charge. So that thing is not avoidable. If first time you're registering, it will ask you a credit card or a debit card. You can register by that. If you have a different credit card or your friend's credit card, second time you can register. It will take the details, but it will not charge. Just work for 29 days, 30 days, then unsubscribe and close it. Then it will not charge. If you have your friend's credit card, the second month you can continue with a different account. You can't continue on the same account, but you can continue with a different account for practice. You can do that. If you only have multiple multiple things, you can also use it. Okay, so okay,
Hello.
yeah.
Uh, if we have an organization account, then
Organization account, you have it on a company, right? If you can practice on that, Data Factory will not does any more billing. If you have test environment or development environment which is accessible to you, you can use it.
so it will be not chargeable, right?
It is chargeable, but it is somewhere around 4 to 500. If you are, it's your company's account, you can use it, because you can build pipelines on your development environment or test environment. You can, if you're working, you can work it, because nobody will see for that small price, because your organization will be paying in lakhs when it's using the platform. In that, if you are using small pipelines also for Data Factory, it will not charge much. If the service is already created, in that you can build some dummy pipelines for practice. Okay, if the service is not created there, if you are creating a new service, then they'll know. See, Here, this is my platform, right? Here, if I am creating a new data factory, then your organization will know that new data factory is created. Here I have two data factories. See, this is my home page where all services are listed. If I go to more services, I can see all the services. If there is already data factory of your organization, if you go into that, and if there are already some pipelines, you build some one or two pipelines in development or test environment, they'll not know, because it will be very minor part of the total bill. And as you have access to the organization's platform, if you are building small pipelines also, they'll not object. Got
Okay,
me? Got me?
got it,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah, yeah. If you have access means you can do some stuff, right? Then only you will get access. So if you are building small pipelines also, they'll not object for that. And because they'll be paying so much for Azure or just for the pipelines, if it is billing for 3 or 400, they'll not object for that also. Okay, Azure Data Factory is not gonna eat any of your anything. It is very cheap. Only Databricks
Okay,
is gonna
for
for Databricks, no. If Databricks environment you have, you can use it, or else don't create and use large notebooks or environments on your organization. The bill will go high. You create a different personal account on your system, register, and see, Databricks also provides an community login also. You can use it for students, but there some features are limited. I'll show you when we start Databricks. You can do that also. For basics, you can use that community edition. When we are going deep into topics, you can create one free account on Azure, and there again 15 days you will get free of cost to practice. In that combinations, we can reduce our expenditure.
okay, for the ADF, any prerequisite is required?
ADF, no prerequisite is required, no programming language is needed. It is just drag and drop tool. Only will understand how to build pipelines, how it is flowing and all. So once we learn ADF in deep, we'll understand what actually an Azure data engineer does. So when you go to Databricks, even if you're writing code and all, it will be easy. Then you'll understand what we are actually doing.
Okay, whatever in a syllabus, whatever the module you have, you ADF and
Yeah.
Azure Data Lake, is it connected to each other? There is a sequence.
Yes, it is not connected, but we use all these services in combination. So when I have given Azure Data Factory, Databricks, Synapse Analytics, in most of the use cases, we use Data Factory and Databricks in combination. That's what I was saying. We use Data Factory tool for data ingestion, and we use Databricks tool for data transformations. Okay, so when you say data ingestion and data transformations, first we'll use Data Factory to ingest data into the pipelines, like connecting to the sources. Data ingestion means you will use Data Factory to connect to the sources. It may be SQL DB, it may be Graph DB, or it may be some HTTP site or FTP site.
In between that, any ETL tool is there?
These are ETL tools only, bro.
Okay, okay.
Just a second, just a second. Okay. So ETL tool, when you say ETL, it is extract, transform, and load, right? So Azure Data Factory is a cloud-based ETL tool. Generally, they are non-cloud tools which work on on-premises, right? So these are cloud-based ETL tool. We are connecting to the sources, getting the data from there. We are loading it to the platform, or we are loading it to some storage account, or we'll transform that through a pipeline and load it to again storage account, or whoever needs, we'll load it in SQL DB, whatever is the use case, we'll load it there. And these two tools also, Azure Data Factory and Databricks also, we can use them as ETL tools independently. Okay, but to gain the advantage of both these things, we'll use Data Factory and Databricks in combination. For data ingestion and connecting to sources, we'll use Data Factory. For transformations and data cleaning, we'll use Databricks. While going into the course, you'll understand why we are using in that way. The same use case, the same problem can be solved just by using data factory also, just by using Databricks also, but we use in combination to get the advantages of both. What happens is, when you are using Databricks, when you are using data factory for transformations, it will take more time compared to Databricks. So for transformations we'll use Databricks. And to connect to sources and all in Databricks, you need to create so many connections using code, but in data factory it is all pre-programmed. Only thing you need to know is, we learn going down, only thing we need to know is, if you want to connect an SQL DB, only thing you need to know is server address and credentials. If you know, you can connect to that SQL DB, or other things you don't need to know. Okay, you don't need to write code also. It is already there. It is just giving you a text box. There you will be giving just your server address and credentials. So those kind of, I'll show you now, because it's an intro session. We'll see that also. I was just going through the basics of ADF. So that way we'll be using ADF for data ingestion, and for processing we use Databricks. Fine. For data data factory intro, I'll first start with this. So data factory, we have five major components for data factory. One is pipelines, then we have linked services, then we have data sets. Pipelines, linked services, data sets. We have triggers, we have integration runtime. So data factory is nothing but, there is a pipeline, data flows from source to destination. Okay, this is a basic thing. Just think of a pipeline. Take a pipeline of municipal pipeline that is bringing water to your home. So the source is the municipal tank somewhere in the town or a city. So water is flowing to your home. You open the tap in your home, water you'll get it. That is a pipeline. Here, only data is flowing in that pipeline. Fine. The source here, the source may be SQL DB, also some Graph DB, or some website, or some HTTP. It may be text files also. It can be CSV files also. It can be anything. Okay. So destination is, depends on the use case. You want to bring the data to where? You want to bring the data to storage location of Azure only, or you want to transform the data and put it in some SQL DB. Whoever wants it. Say there is a front end guy who is using Power BI to build charts from the data. So destination is Power BI. So you get the data from source, do all the processing, do all the transformations, and whatever this Power BI guy needs, that you'll give the data. Okay, so this Power BI becomes a destination. For example, so our source can be anything. It can be SQL DB also. It can be Graph DB also. It can be some HTTP site or some API. Anything. Fine. Okay. So, data factory, what it does in data engineering, only one thing. What is the source? What is the destination? That is what everything is around in data engineering. Okay. So we are building pipelines. We are getting the source. We're getting data from the source. Give it to the destination. Destination can be Power BI fellows also. It can be data scientists also. It can be just a front end guy who is picking up from another SQL DB and just posting on website or some platform. It can be website also, it can be platform also, anything. Okay, this is this is destination, this is our source. Okay, the middle will build pipelines. Okay, this is what we do in data engineering. The use case will come as, the data is there on the source, you have to clean it, you have to transform it, and then you have to put the data here. That use cases you will get. Data engineering is that only. Take data from somewhere, change it, transform it, give it to someone else. That's what we do. Okay. So coming to this, first thing, pipelines is that thing. For pipeline is, generally pipeline can be defined as combination of activities. So in data factory, we have different activities like filter activity, sort activity, transform activity. Some there are Databricks activities. There are so many activities which act on this data. When data is pushed, no, this activities I'll show you in detail. Like when we are going, we are building pipelines each one by one. You'll understand more. So these activities are there to do. So take an example. There are some records. Say 1 to 10 records are there. You have to filter out the name starting with A. For that, you'll use an filter activity. Okay, the same way, as per the use case, you will build different combinations of activities so that you will solve the use case. You'll solve the problem given to you and do the operations on the data. Okay, so pipelines is nothing but combination of activities. Okay, this is pipeline as a whole. All these other four will be helpful to run these pipelines. Without these four things, this pipeline won't run. Okay, so now we'll understand what linked service is. Linked service is used to connect to any source or destination. So link in linked service, when we are creating linked service, we'll create linked service to connect to any source or destination. Source or destination means it can be, like I said, SQL, Graph, HTTP API also. Destination, it can be SQL DB also, Power BI also, some storage account also. To connect to this, we'll use linked service. So what do you define in linked service? In linked services, we just define what is the type of the source or destination. Type of source or destination, whether it is SQLDB or it is a website, it's a storage location, it is a folder, it is a file. What is the type of that source or destination will define. When you say what types, we have only three or four. No, we have so many types of source. Types of source means you have AWS S3 buckets also, you have Google Drive also, you have Google Sheets, you have Google Slides. Now slide you won't get data, but Google Sheets you can get CSV files data. So there are so many sources. I'll show you again. After this, I'll go back to Data Factory platform. I'll show you what different link services can be attached to. Like so, in link services, there we give first, we'll define what is the type of source or type of destination. Then we'll say what is the address of it, and we give credentials. You are connecting to any SQL DB or any website or anything, right? There will be ID and password. Even for your mail, you'll have ID and password, right? So the same way, it has credentials. Any source or destination, if you want to hit it, there will be address, there will be credentials. The same way, if you want to go to somebody's home, there will be address. Then there you'll be having name also to go and search for them. The same way, this will also have some address and some credentials. These two are required to create a link service, to attach to a source or a destination. This is a link service. Okay. Next come data sets. I'll show you again on the pipeline how it is used, but just understand what these five components are. So in data sets, we have already created link service. We know what is the source, where that which SQLDB to go, or which website to go and touch and all. No? Now data set, what we define in data set is we will point at a definite file or table. Okay, if it is an SQLDB, you are using link service to connect an SQLDB, then what will have in a database? You will have tables, right? In SQL table, in database, you'll have tables. So in dataset, you will define what table to connect to and where the table is there, in which folder it is there, or what table you want to connect. Okay, in the dataset, you will define that. Or if there is a just a Google Drive or it is an AWS S3 bucket, then in link services, you will say that S3 bucket, there is the address, there is credentials for that. In that, in dataset, what you'll define for that? You will define the file name. Where is the file? It is in which folder? That you will define. That is a difference between datasets and link services. So link services will only show address of that particular anything source or destination, but in dataset you will define which particular file you have to pick up and file is in which format. Okay, that also you will define in dataset. So to get data, no, this link service is also you need, because you know where to hit and where to bring the data. You will need data set also, because you want to know what table you are bringing, what file you are bringing. So this is link services and this is data sets. Coming to triggers. Trigger normal definition. What is a trigger? A gun will have a trigger, right? So what does a trigger do? When you press a trigger, the bullet will get released. You'll shoot the bullet, right? So the same way, trigger is used to run a pipeline. It will kick off a pipeline. So how do we use pipeline? Okay, when we say pipeline, what did we discuss? Pipeline is bringing data from source to destination. Now we'll take an example. There is a website like Flipkart or Amazon. There every day sales are happening. The same data is in some SQL database. So from there, you need to get the data and give it to Power BI data analyst guy so that he'll build charts. Last hour how many sales happened, last day how many sales happened, or whatever it is. So for that you need to build a pipeline. So this pipeline should run at what intervals? That Amazon guy will give you at what intervals this pipeline should run. He'll tell you. The client who is giving you the project or the team leader will define when this pipeline should run. It should run every minute, or it should run every hour, or it should run every day only once. Can be anything. Okay. So that when we are scheduling the pipeline, when the pipeline should run is defined in the trigger. Okay. When the pipeline should run is defined in the trigger. Pipeline will run only based on the trigger. In trigger you can give time also, you can give other conditions also. We'll discuss that also. In triggers only we'll define when the pipeline should run. Okay. If the trigger says the pipeline should run every 10 minutes, the pipeline will be running every 10 minutes continuously until you stop. Okay. Like that, in triggers will define when the pipeline should run, at what frequency, at what times, every Sunday or every Monday or every alternate day, every week, every month. It can be anything also. Okay. That's what triggers done. Coming to integration runtime. Integration runtime is nothing but your processing capacity or processor of Azure Data Factory. Integration runtime is nothing but your laptop or desktop will have processor, right? Without processor it will not work. Processor only does the everything. If you are copying files also, processor only does it. If you are opening browser also, processor only is needed. If you are doing any application also is running, processing only, processor is only needed. The same way integration runtime does the actual work of a pipeline. You only create pipelines, but if you are running a pipeline, when the pipeline is running, integration runtime is needed. To create link services also, you need integration runtime. Okay. So that's what integration runtime is. A processor of similar to your processor of your laptop or a desktop. Fine. So these are the five main components of Azure Data Factory. Now we'll go and see on our platform. Okay, these.
Uh,
Yes.
may I ask any question, or we will ask the
Sure,
question
sure.
at the end of the session?
You can ask. You can ask.
In Power BI also there is a scheduling trigger.
Yes, you can refresh. There is a refresh option for Power BI also.
Uh, and also taken many of the sources, whatever the sources you mentioned, is
Mm,
also taken through Power BI also, right?
mm, mm. Yes, but
Then, yeah, what will be
what
the
is the difference?
difference?
What is the difference?
Right.
In Power BI, you can't take the source from some storage location and you can't send it to another SQL DB, right? You can only take from source and build a dashboard. You can take data from any source, and what you will do, you are not storing in Power BI also. It is just query that is you're building on Power BI, and you are building dashboard. You are getting sales data. If you are connecting to sales on SQL DB using Power BI, it is like a query. It is not completely fetching the data also. It is accessing the data in real time. Okay, and when you are fetch on the same data, you are building a dashboard, but you can't send the data anywhere, right? You can save the file on your desktop, but you can't copy the data from SQL DB and put it on storage location. You can't copy the data and put it on some SQL DB, or you can't send it to a website. Only thing is you can build dashboard out of it. That data can't be sent anywhere, or else again the whole data should put on your Power BI chart. Other than that, you can't do, no. So here we are, what we are doing, we are taking the data and sending it. We are building pipelines. Only use of data factory or Databricks is building pipelines. You are taking data from somewhere, changing it, compressing it, or whatever you do, whatever operation you do on it, transforming it, and you putting to destination. After that, they can use it. Why that these pipelines are used? Because Power BI also has a option to connect to sources. Means when you are when you are connecting a source which is giving millions of records per hour, or say thousands of records per minute, Power BI, what happens is Power BI can't handle when it is when you put a refresh of 1 minute or 1 second on Power BI, it can't handle that much data. Then what happens is most of the data cleaning or data transformation, we'll use Data Factory or Databricks to use, and the end will directly give the aggregations to Power BI, so that Power BI will just use the aggregations and build charts. Okay, because uh, you can using Power BI, you can put a refresh for say every 6 hours or every day or every 1 hour. I don't think you anybody has put a refresh of every 1 minute or 1 second on Power BI, right?
Okay, for real time,
Real time you don't put,
yes, ADF. Yeah.
you will schedule it every day 6 p.m. or every day 9 a.m. so that you'll get your yesterday's data. You'll schedule it like that. But these pipelines, no, Data Factory or Databricks pipelines, these will do streaming data. They can handle if data is being produced. We'll handle streaming data also in our projects. When data is being produced, say hundreds of records per minute, thousands of records per minute, that data can flow through Azure Data Factory pipelines, Data Bricks pipelines, and we can build aggregations. And then we handle these records. No, then aggregations we can give to Power BI. You can do aggregations on Power BI also, but this so much records are there, so many records are there, that aggregations we can do on power on these pipelines, and we can give it to Power BI. That becomes easy on Power BI also. Okay, or else we can do all the transformation in the pipelines. We can store it in storage account, and Power BI will fetch from the storage account every 6 hours or every day or every day morning, whatever it is, or whatever the use case is, it can take it. Okay, so
Okay, got it.
that is a use of pipeline and not Power BI. So that's what happens when we are handling large amounts of data. We'll use this, and the same way we'll provide it to Power BI guy or a data scientist guy or a front end guy who will take the data and use it. Data scientist also can take data from SQL DB or GraphDB directly, and he can do models. But what happens is when the data is very large, when data is coming in continuously for every second or every minute, he can't handle it or he can't build like that. So he needs some pipeline which can streamline this or do some operations, clean the data and all. After that, he'll get the data, then he'll put it into model. That's what we will help these guys. When the organization or a data set sees from medium to large scale, then data engines come into picture. For a small shop or a small supermarket, if you're building Power BI and all, there you don't need these data pipelines, because Power BI can handle that source and that range of data. If you have only 1,000 sales per day, take a supermarket in a city, it has 1,000 sales per day, not more than that. That Power BI can do for every day. But you take a website like Amazon, there would be somewhere around 1,000 sales per minute, definitely. So for that range, you will need pipelines, data engineering pipelines. It may be Azure also, it may be AWS also, anything, GCP also, or any independent tools also. You will need data engineering pipelines for that. So that is a need of Azure data engineering pipelines. Okay. So these are our main pillars or components of Azure Data Factory. Now we'll go into Azure Data Factory platform. So this is our home page. So here it is showing all the resources given by Azure platform. So I'll share the link after the class where you can where you will see how to register for Azure platform. If you don't have access, you can register for that. First 30 days is free. That you can register. I'll provide a link after the class. Okay, that is there. So here this is our platform. If you want to go to data factories, you can type in the search bar on the above on top, say data factories, and whatever, if the data factories are already created, then you can see data factories here. If data factories are not created, then we can create. I'll show you how to create. First, before data factories, there is something called resource groups. Resource group is nothing but it is used to group resources. See, when we start doing a project, right? Say there is one project. There is one project from Amazon. So Amazon wants you to build some pipelines. So for you want you want one data factory, one ADB Databricks, and you want, say, one Synapse service also, and you want different service, say other service, some XYZ service, like storage location. You want storage location also. And again, there is another project on the same platform. Your company is only having the platform. You have a different project, that is Flipkart. Then for Flipkart also, you're building pipelines. Then you want ADF, and you want again ADB, and you want Synapse. So to differentiate between these, which is doing what and all, we'll create a resource group. Resource group is nothing but it is used to group the services. We'll create one resource group whose name would be Amazon, and on the resource group we'll create this ADF, ADB, Synapse and all, that will be tagged to Amazon only. So you'll differentiate between resource group of Amazon and resource group of Flipkart. Here also we'll create a resource group, and you'll create ADF, ADB, Synapse, one service on this under this resource group. Then you can differentiate between ADF of Amazon and ADF Flipkart. That is what resource group can be used. Another use of resource group is whenever developers or anybody is using it, we can give access based on resource group. So Amazon project will have 10 members, so they will have access only to services under this resource group. Anyway, access and all will not touch more, because access and all is handled by DevOps guy or infra guys. I'll teach you, but we'll go on at basics level. So uh, Amazon guys, the project in the Amazon, the project guys, guys in the project Amazon will only have access to the uh, services in Amazon. They should not have access to Flipkart, right? The same way, Flipkart guys will have access to Flipkart services. So resource group can be used to manage accesses also, accesses, and there can be some resources or process that has been shared. If that process are being shared, we can use resource group also. Nothing, resource group is nothing but it's like a tag, like a thing. Under the tag or resource group heading, you'll have different resources. If you want to do same operation for all the resources, you can just say resource group name, then it will be done. If you want to give access to Shashank to all these resources under Amazon, you can just say give access on resource group Amazon, then I'll get access to all of this. It's like that. So first you create a resource group. Here already the resource groups are created, but first you go to, say, resource group, or you can see it here or type it here. You go to resource groups. First you create a resource group. Resource group, it will ask nothing. Only thing it will ask is name. My subscription is pay as you go. It is a paid subscription. If you are doing, it will show as free subscription. Okay, then you give some resource group name. Okay, today is Monday Feb B7. This is my resource group name. It is asked for region. Generally, what region you choose is where there are more users, or where your project is going to be, that region you choose. But when generally we choose East US, because that East US server has more capacity. Resource group is okay when we are creating some, say, SQL DBs or Databricks compute and all. We'll use the same region, because that East US or Central US servers are large, and from there, if your data factory will need some virtual machines or there, those availability is more, so that can access, that can be allotted to you easily. That's why we use, generally we use East US only. By default also, it is showing East US. Let it be East US. Give your resource group name and say subscription, and say review plus create, and say create. It will ask nothing. There is no details for resource group. You can just create the resource group. It got our Monday Feb B7 got created. Nice. Then you go to all services again. You go to data factories now. You create a data factory. I'll show you how to create a data factory. These two are already created. We'll create a new data factory. You'll say, just say create. Hmm, yeah, it is. It's this is how it shows. Again, it is showing subscription. Here you'll get your name. In resource group, it is asking if what resource group my data factory should be created. So I have so many resource group now. So I'll be selecting this Monday Feb B7, which I have created just now. So I'll select the resource group. Now I have to put some name to this. Say same name, Monday Feb B7 ADF. This my ADF name, data factories name. Region will maintain the same region, say V2. Next tab, go to next tab, go to Git configuration. You can configure Git later. Configuration of Git is for whenever you are developing in dev environment, you have to do continuous integration, continuous development. It is nothing but you have to send your pipelines to higher levels. Whenever there is a software life cycle, you are not putting all your pipelines directly on prod. You are what you do is there are different environments in an organization. I think all of you are working only, so you'll understand. There is a development environment where you are basically developing pipelines. Then you send it to test environment where you are testing the same pipelines. Okay, then you are sending it to somewhere UAT or pre-prod environment where it is not directly the production environment but before that, which is same like prod environment. Okay, and after testing there some reviews, after that it will go to production directly. So this travel of these pipelines or code, this should happen automatically, right? You should not create again manually. This code should go to, from development it should go to test, then it go to pre-prod, then it should go to prod. So this continuous ingestion, you are creating pipelines, they should go automatically after your authentication. So for that you will use GitHub, CI/CD with GitHub we can will teach. And again using DevOps also we will do CI/CD, that also we'll discuss. For that it is asking you want to configure Git or not. I don't want to configure it now. I am putting as configure Git later. Okay. Then I go to networking. Here also you don't need to touch anything. You can directly go to review plus create. It is just reviewing. It will give the option to create here. Wait for a sec. Yeah. Now we just say create. Your Azure Data Factory service will get created in 2-3 minutes. Okay, your deployment is complete. When you say go to resource, it will take you to your Azure Data Factory. This is your Azure Data Factory in your resource group. Here you click this, you can open your data factory. You can say launch studio. Your data factory homepage will open. Just give it a second. It's a bit slow, I don't know why. mm, I think the network is slow. Yeah, it's loading. Okay, this is how your homepage, this is homepage of your data factory looks like. On the left you have 5 tabs. The first one is home, then you have author, then you have monitor, then you have manage. Okay, when you go to author, click on author. Here is the page where you build your pipelines. You go to pipelines, there are no pipelines, you can just play plus pipeline and pipeline. There is a screen, this is a canvas where you build your pipelines. You put activities here and it becomes a pipeline. I'll tell you, we'll build pipelines later. Below the pipelines you have this menu for data sets. Here is where you create data sets. And what did we discuss? We discussed linked services, right? We'll go to manage. In manage, you can see there are linked services. If you create linked services, it will come here. Then there is option for integration runtimes. When you click on integration runtimes, there is already an integration runtime created. Runtime is nothing but the processor for this data factory, right? So this is auto resolve integration runtime. One default integration runtime is created by data factory only. When it is created, it is ready, so you don't need to create. But what are the limitations of this integration runtime is only the sources uh, local to this Azure platform only it will be used to process. When your source is storage account on Azure platform only and your destination is SQL DB on Azure platform only, then both are Azure platform only, no? So then this auto resolve integration runtime can be used. But if your source is somewhere out of this Azure platform, say some SQL DB on SQL server or some PostgreSQL server or some HTTP or an API, then you need to create a different integration runtime which would need an virtual server. Virtual server is nothing but a different computer that will process the data. Here also I said it's a processor, right? So auto resolve IR also process the data. If you create a different integration runtime, we call it an IR integration runtime. You need to create a different IR and it should point to a different system. For system, you can point to your desktop also practically. Then your processor will be used to process the data. Or Azure also provides virtual servers. You have to buy a virtual or pay for a virtual server, or in free time it will provide a virtual server. On that virtual server, you can create integration runtime, and that integration runtime will point to a virtual server. We'll build everything in detail. We'll discuss. Okay, so that integration runtime then we can access any source or destination outside the Azure platform. For anything on Azure platform, this is enough. So access anything outside it, we'll need to have an integration runtime and then virtual server. Those are integration runtime, virtual server. Then here you come to triggers. Here you create triggers and give the scheduling. First we'll see at linked services. When you click on linked services, go to new linked services. Okay, this is just a demo. I tomorrow when we are building pipelines, we'll go each link service in detail. Okay. So when you see at the sources that is accepted by Azure Data Factory, you have Amazon RDS, Amazon RDS SQL Server, you have Amazon S3 buckets, you have Amazon Redshift. These are Azure platforms only: Azure Blob Storage, Azure Data Lake Storage, Azure Database for MySQL, Azure Database for PostgreSQL, SQL Database, Azure Table Storage. You have Cassandra, you have Couchbase, you have DB2, you have GitHub. You can get data from GitHub files also. You can get some FTP location. If there is just a FTP location and you have some text files or CSV files there, you connect to this, you give the address of this FTP file, you get the credential, you give the credentials of this FTP file, and you can connect to this. You can get the data from Google Ads, you can get from Google Cloud Storage. There are so many sources. Because all these connection to storage, you can get Salesforce data, you can get SAP data, this is REST API data, you can get it from Snowflake, which is all these are independent sources. You can get the data from there. Since ADF is providing all these pre-built connections to the sources, that's why we are opting for ADF to just ingest data. What we'll do is we'll use these link services, get data from the sources, then we can push that into Databricks and process it there. For ingesting and all, ADF is easy, because when you are creating a link service, just you have to give the address and just you have to give the credentials, ID and password. Then you can get it from there. Then after getting the data, you can do any kind of transformation or cleaning in Databricks. You can do it in Data Factory also. But Databricks, it is more efficient. So in combination, we'll use this Data Factory and Databricks. Okay. So that's what. These are all the sources or destinations that are provided by link service. Link service can connect. We use link service to connect this. ADF provides link service for all these. Okay. So coming to, we'll come back again. Coming to,
Excuse me.
yeah,
Hello.
yes.
So for our project, mini project and main project, or we take the example, which source we will use
Which source you want
for
to use?
project?
We can use
No, no,
anything.
no. For
Availability,
our project. No,
REST
no, for
API.
our project.
We can use a REST API also, or we can set up a source. outside the Azure platform on a on-prem server or some server where data is being generated every second. We can set up that source also.
No, I'm asking that in whatever at the end of the course you will
Yes, yes.
take
See,
an
see the
project. So
project
which source you will use?
for every batch, I'll change the project because it depends on the batch. If there are more finance guys, if they can show their finance project better in the resume, I'll go with the finance project. For finance analytics, no, you'll not get any finance data from any website because it's not there. So what I'll do is I'll get a data set from online finance data set. I'll reproduce the same finance transactions using some Python code. The data is being reproduced every second. It's like when you say finance transactions, it is like banking transactions, right? So I'll reproduce finance transactions like banking transactions or share market transactions which are being produced every second on a source. It can be my computer also. It can be some Databricks environment where just it is producing data every second. It can be the source. It can be some other, see, it can be some Azure, my personal Azure account, which is not this. On that, it can be an storage location. We can hit that also, which is uh, not local to this Azure account, but of a different subscription. Or else we can create an Amazon S3 bucket. There we can produce data using Python, and we can get that data also. See, the project depends on batch. If there are so many sales guys coming in, we'll take a sales project where we have sales data like Amazon or Flipkart. Okay, the source is flexible. We can do whatever we want. Only thing is, main thing is source. Any source, the type of source is not important. The data coming from the source is important because we whatever the source is, connecting the source, link service will provide just ID and password. You connect to the source, you'll get the data. That's not an issue because ADF is providing everything. Only thing is you have to give the source address, ID and password. That is enough. Okay. Only the problem comes what data is coming in. You're getting what kinds of errors, how you are cleaning the data, how you are transforming the data, what is the use case, how many transformations you need, how many pipelines you need, and till what part you are using Azure Data Factory, and till how many transformations you are doing with Azure Databricks, and are you handling streaming analytics or you are doing batch type processing. That is all needed. Your your whatever the source may be, Azure Data Factory, you will have to give address and ID and password only. What we'll do is we'll run a poll in the batch. What source you want, we can select that. Not an issue. We can set up that source.
Okay, thank you.
Fine. Yeah. Okay, I was coming to triggers, right? I've shown you link services, what types of all sources or destinations link service can connect, right? When I come to triggers, I said trigger is the one that will run the pipeline, kickstart the pipeline. When you come to triggers, I say new. First, if I select these are type of schedule, type of triggers here. When you select a type, there are four types. One is schedule, one is tumbling window. I'll come to tumbling window later. One is storage events, one is custom events. So schedule is you will give which day, which time, every 15. See, here you're asking every 15 minutes or every hours, every 1 hour, every 2 hour, every 3 hour. You can put it like that, or weekdays of that week or weekends of the week. You can select it here. When you come to storage events is like there is some folder, some other service is getting that data into that folder. With storage events trigger, what you will do is you will check for the file on that folder. Storage account, storage event is on that storage folder. You will check whether the file has come. Only after the file has come, the pipeline will run. You can program like that using the storage event. So say there is no fixed time when the pipeline, when the data is coming from your source. The source is only giving you data in some particular location. Daily they'll get your data in form of CSV files or Parquet files. They'll place in your folder. So sometimes they place it at 7 a.m., sometimes at 8 a.m., sometimes 9 a.m. We don't know when, what time it is going to come. So what we'll do is we'll create a storage event. Programming this, what we'll do is we'll say whenever a file with name so and so comes to the folder, the pipeline should run. So whenever it will be checking on the folder every second. So whenever the file is placed in the folder, the storage event trigger will, what will do, it will hit the pipeline, and the pipeline will copy the file and do the processing. Okay, that is what storage events is used for. Okay, then there is custom events also. Custom event is, for this you will be needing a different service called event hub. Event hub is nothing but here we discussed about storage event, right? Storage event is nothing but whenever there is a file in a folder, whenever the file is deleted from a folder, that is called a storage event. Storage event means folder and files, that is storage, right? So when come to custom events also can trigger a pipeline. Custom event is whenever there is a say folder created, or there is some event that happens on a different service. Okay, when say there is some data pulled from an API to some different service of Azure, if an event hub is programmed there, when the event hub received that event, this pipeline will run. You can program that also. I while creating the triggers and all, we'll learn that also practically. Some event happens on some event hub, this event, custom event, this pipeline will run. We can program that also. Okay, that's what custom events for. Okay, these are types of triggers. So only, not just on time or every hour, every minute, the pipeline runs. It can be programmed with different, based on different conditions also. Pipelines can be run based on those conditions. Okay, then we have global parameters here. Global parameters is like defining, if you have idea of programming, global parameters is like you will define the same name for a different parameter. These parameters will be changing for dev environment, test environment, or different environments. You can make use of these parameters with the same name. It's like that. We'll while CI/CD it is done, we'll use global parameters and all. I'll show you then. So these are the basic components of Azure Data Factory. Okay, we have link services, we have triggers, we have integration runtimes. Here only we have pipelines. Pipelines is nothing but combination of activities. What are activities we have? When you open, there is copy data. With copy data, what you can do, you can copy data from a source. It can be any source, and you can copy that data to a sink. Sink is nothing but your destination. You call sink in ADF. So from source you can copy data and put it in your sink. Sink can be anything. Okay, this is the duty of a copy data. It is what function of a copy data. So you have different called Synapse notebook. You can use a Synapse notebook to run the pipelines, or else you have Databricks notebook. We'll learn Databricks, right? Databricks code. You write PySpark code in a Databricks notebook. If you want to copy data from a source and send it to notebook, after copy data, you place the notebook activity. Then what happens is, generally, copy data, it will take data from source, put it in storage location. Some storage, it temporarily it will place. This notebook, what it does, it will take data from the storage location and process data, and it will write to SQL DB, or it can put on storage location, or it can send to anywhere. It depends on the use case. So like this, we'll have combination of activities which will become a pipeline. You can have Databricks here, or we can have some activities. Say there is a filter transformation, you need to filter some data out of this copy data. For that you will need filter, or you have some if condition. You will put a condition that only some data should pass through this. If data is like if the gender of a employee is male, that should go to this pipeline. If the gender of the employee is female, this will go to another pipeline. For that you can use if condition. So there are different activities here. With different combination of activities, you are building a pipeline. Okay, so we'll look that in detail. So tomorrow we'll start, Wednesday we'll start building pipelines. We'll start with the basic pipeline, then we'll understand where link service is created, how it is used, then where data set is created, how it is used, and what pipeline we are building. Okay, so since today the first class, we just looked into basics of data factory. I am ending the session here today. We'll meet again on 9 p.m. Wednesday. Then we'll ramp up, we'll start building pipelines. Okay, we'll do basic pipeline stuff. We'll connect to different link services. We'll run data. We'll start with small pipelines. We'll ramp up from Wednesday. Okay, guys, any doubts till now on today's class?
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Self-hosted integration runtime and derived column transformation that will take next session or
Self-hosted integration runtime you will be using throughout the ADF sessions. Okay,
okay,
you'll do it daily. It is like a basic stuff, like same linked service, SHIR. You'll create once and you will be using on every pipeline. And what you are asking, some other stuff, right?
column transformation,
What transformation?
derived column transformation.
Derived column transformation will take some time, say 5 classes or 6 classes. After that, you'll go to derived column transformation. There are something called data flows. Inside data flows, you'll have different kinds of transformations. There, for every use case, you will use different transformations. So in that data flows, you will learn how to do transformations. There are sort transformations, there are filter transformations, then there is derived column transformation. The same way, if you know SQL, how you put an derived column, the same way in data flows, we'll create a derived column transformation. That's what. It will take 5 or 6 classes to go to derived column transformation.
Okay, now this session recording will when will take?
It will take 1 hour to get uploaded. You can access it there.
Okay,
I'll
and
share the folder location. You can access it from there. Yes, Ashish.
in the introduction session,
Yes.
you were told that you will give your whole introduction and details we share with us.
What details you need?
So
I'll share. I'll share
no,
in the
no,
WhatsApp group. No, no. What?
okay,
Yeah. I'll share. I'll share my LinkedIn profile. I'll share my address. I've been working as I'll send my pics. I'll send my Instagram profile also. You can like. You can follow. Uh, I'm working as senior associate in Publicis Resources. I have 12 years of experience. I am 2008 pass out and I've been working on Azure platform from 2018. Okay, I'm working on 2018. I am working on Azure data engineer only. Now I'm an team lead, senior associate in Publicis Resources. My office location is Bangalore. I stay in Kakinada, a town in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, this is my hometown. I do work from home. We do go to our office just once a quarter. Okay, I'll share my LinkedIn profile. I'll share my Instagram profile in the WhatsApp group. You can follow. Not an issue. Yes. Any more doubts?
Sasank, actually, due
Raghu.
to some
Yes.
network issue, I missed this integration runtime concept.
Yeah, we can discuss integration runtime, not an issue. Yeah, integration runtime is nothing but integration runtime is a processor. The same way your desktop or laptop has a processor, integration runtime is that for a Azure Data Factory. So whenever we have created Azure Data Factory, it comes with an default auto resolve integration runtime. Okay, so this auto resolve integration runtime can be used to run the pipelines whenever the source and destination are local to Azure platform only. We can use this auto resolve IR. Okay, whenever your source or destination is outside Azure, you will need a different IR. We'll go to that in detail. Self-hosted only, we'll use an IR, and that IR will point to a system. It can be on-prem system also. It can be virtual server provided by Azure also. It can be anything. Because that data coming from a outside Azure platform, it needs some processing. So for that, it needs an virtual server. Okay, for that virtual machine, you will need an IR that will be uh, pointing at that virtual machine. Okay, so you'll have those two types of. This is default. Whenever you create a data factory, you will get auto resolve IR. But for you'll need an IR to hit different sources or destination which are not local to Azure platform. For that, you will need to create integration runtime. When we do pipelines hitting different sources and destinations, we'll create integration runtime. We'll create an IR on our same system or laptop. We'll point to that so that it can be used for processing and all. That all we'll do. Okay, IR is nothing but it is a processor. Okay, this is default processor given by ADF.
Mhm.
We'll create another IR and it will point at a virtual machine. Only two types. There is more to it. When we come to integration and time complication, we'll discuss that also. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more doubts, guys? Samir, Ram, Arnab, Ishwar Sai. Okay, guys. Then I am ending this session. You can access the recording in an hour. It will take generally it will take less than 1 hour only, but I just said it's an hour. Okay. We are ending this Wednesday. Meet you at 9 p.m. We'll start building pipelines.